Hello and welcome to part 2 of Crumbling Farum Azula right here. Last time we went through, well, we did the beginning over here, we did all of this part, or at least I talked about this part. I went up here and explored this area, and now we have this part left over here. This big building and stuff over here, and, well, you know. I'm standing right at the edge of the quote-unquote new part, all of this here, and I want to talk about this that we can see in there. So let's get out the telescope. What place was it? Fourth. Okay. Ah, nope. Okay, pressed once two more. So, because here we have a or more dragons in the stone. Here we have a wing, then there is a neck, and I guess part of a head, and over there even more. So, is there another wing? So either this is what most people think, this is a future version of Dragon Lord Placidus X, or Placidus X, or whatever you want to call this dude. Or these are multiple dragons, but what do I think? I think it's, well, it looks like Placidus X. I don't know if it's the right size. I don't really have the size of Placidus X in my head right now, but it could be right. Could be about right. But then, what is this? There are more dragons buried inside of the rock, like, this is not just one dragon, so maybe he's somewhere else, but, well, I need to have a look out for that, because somewhere there should have been a multi-headed dragon here in the rock, but I guess this wasn't it then. Let's have a look from here first, yeah. There's part of a dragon or more dragons, whatever. Then this part over there. Let's keep going. Because here starts the death route. Well, the death route gets up here because, well, Malekith is here, I guess, or there's a dog somewhere. Or maybe not because Malekith is here, because, nah. I guess the corruption just went from down here to Farum Azula, wherever Farum Azula was before. Maybe somewhere over here, at some place over here. That's quite irritating. What is this dog doing? It's just running up and down, okay. Interesting. The tapping of the feet are quite annoying. But yeah, even Deathroot got up to Farum Azula, only at this part though. And, well, we still have the same architecture. Well, this statue is new, a sitting version of the Beast Clergyman, or of Beast Clergyman. There are probably more than one. And let's have a look. This one is the way onwards, and this one is the optional path, I guess. So let's see what's up here. Just more of the same stuff we had before, nothing special here. And I'm just skipping this because I've already talked about this. There's nothing I want to talk about here right now. This is just more imagery. Here we can go back for some reason. I don't really know from a level design perspective why they've did this. I mean, I get it from a world design perspective, like, this place this place is a bit chaotic, but why would you want to go back? I just don't get it, like... Maybe there's a reason for it that I'm not seeing, but... nah. Just no reason. Yeah, up here there's not much to do here, really. That, like... It's weird, right? And this is something that I've previously talked about as well. Maybe not in this video, but... level design is quite difficult, because you need to keep in mind the world itself. The world itself needs to be cohesive, like the things you're building. I think the best example, if you've played Dark Souls 2, is, for example, the Iron Keep. Or the old Iron Keep, whatever. The level design is quite interesting, but the world design is terrible. Like, it feels like one of these old Mario levels where you're just jumping through, like... the world needs to feel like a world, not just like a level, if you know what I mean, right? But that means you might have a few different branches branching off of your main path that can be explored, like this one, for example, right? Like, the level goes from in here, from this part over here. We came from up there, we went this way, and the level leads us down this corridor. This is the path to progress, right? But then we have a branch here. We can go this way, there's not much here, and we can go up the staircase. And we now have a branch, and this leads to a dead end, right? You can't go there, you can't go there. Well, you can backtrack. Why you would want that is unknown to me. I guess it's nice that you can do this. Maybe it's here to... what's it called? To irritate people, like to... So they're not... So they don't know where they're going anymore. But there needs to be something interesting here, right? Like, you have a branch, now I want my reward. Otherwise, this exploration was for nothing, right? And luckily there is a corpse here, but I can't remember what item there was, so I just guessed there was a trash item. Maybe there was a pretty good item of some sort, then I take this back, this is fine, but... This feels a bit off to me. Let's just keep going. We have a bunch of death root here, which, by the way, if you had a look at the death root, right? We have, of course, these eyes in there, and... Oh no, they're not bleeding, okay. But if you have a look at the roots, they look like tentacles almost, right? Like fishy design, like with the fin parts or whatever you want to call them, and these hair things, fin things that go out. This looks like a weird ass sea creature almost, right? And I think I have to do these areas at some point as well, like the underground and stuff like this. But it has a lot of deep sea imagery, like the unnerving transformation from humanoid-looking thing to unnatural sea creature, something like out of Lovecraftian, like the Shadow over Innsmouth almost. And then we have these eyes, the eyes of the Prince of Death, like having a look at everything. It's quite interesting, the design of the death root itself. Over here we have a mini-boss fight versus a Crucible Knight that I'm designed as right now, that I'm wearing the armor from. Not the Crucible Knight in this armor, the other version of the armor. And it looks like there's a dead dragon here. don't know if the Crucible Knight killed this dragon or if the dragon just died here, whatever, right? And then there's more structure here. Like, this looks like a mausoleum, right? Something mausoleum. And here we are walking now on rooftops, and this is quite the big building that we are in right now, or walking on right now. We can't really explore the building inside, or the inside of the building. We can more explore the, well, the outside. And yeah, usually on this platform right there, quite far away, is a dragon, right? There is one of the ancient dragons with lightning, and he just bombards you with lightning. Like, the whole path is being bombarded, and you have to fight these stormhawks over here. One of my least favorite enemies. I like the design of the hawks, but I don't like fighting them. Because flying enemies, I have a problem with flying enemies. As you can see, currently I have a shadow, right? And they do also have a shadow. But for some reason this game is a bit weird, because sometimes you just don't have a shadow. And when you are equipping a torch, the torch, you're also not casting a shadow from the light source of the torch. I get it, the game already runs fairly poorly. It is kept at 60 FPS, and well, it's not that good, not that well optimized, I might say. Like, with Cheat Engine, I have the option here to unlock my frame rate. And I could unlock it to like 144, like my monitor, right? But then it feels like laggy and stuff. It's not a constant frame rate. So I just keep it like above like 80, something like 80. So it looks smoother, and if it drops, it still drops to above 60, but well, it's not quite well optimized. And even Dark Souls 2 could. Even Dark Souls 2 had the awesome lighting where when you had a torch in your hand you would create a shadow, which was amazing. But flying enemies, I have a problem with them, because I have the problem that I can't really gauge the distance to them. Like, of course when they're on the ground it's quite easy. Now I'm at attack range, right? But when they are flying, it's, especially with the bats, it's quite hard to gauge the distance between them, and oftentimes I just miss because of that. I guess I have to talk about this elevator, maybe later, when we are at this point of the elevator. Let's just keep going here. Because this building is quite an interesting building, because we have doors. This amazes me, right? A place like this, Farum Azula, where everything is destroyed and crumbling, like out of order. The whole buildings are ripped apart and stuff like this, but they still managed to put in doors. And if you've seen the other videos, I like having doors that indicate that there's more to this place than just the facade of the building, right? This looks like you can go in there, you can explore the place. Of course the player character can't do this right now because the doors can't be opened, but it indicates a depth to the world, right? And in specific areas there are a lot of missing doors, and it amazes me that this area actually has some doors. And then we have a ladder over here, which is like, ugh. Do you really expect like normal people in a living and breathing world to constantly climb ladders to get somewhere? like, staircases exist, you know. And I really like the addition of water. What was that? I really like the addition of water. I think... Oh, I don't think... I really like levels where you have a very shallow water in a structure. Like, for example, Dark Souls 3, the Cathedral of the Deep. You had these water basins that you can walk through in the cathedral itself. And here you have the ground with the water inside. Like, I really like this. I don't know why, like, just feels amazing to me. And it looks quite beautiful here, right? You have these flowers, which are a bit more colorful than the rest of the plants in here. Like, they're not as muted, the colors are not as muted as the colors of the bushes and the trees here, right? But of course, then you have this biggest dragon shooting lightning at you, and you have to navigate through the lightning, and you have to get rid of the birds here, like, ugh. But it's quite the fun level, it's quite the nice challenge, I really like this. Yeah, this one here. We are back to crenellations. Back to crenellations over here. To a defended wall. But this doesn't look... This looks like it was built here on purpose. This looks like it's not been, like, ripped from another piece of this area and smashed against this wall. This feels like this belongs here. And then again, why is there no door? How am I supposed to get in here? What even is this? Why do we have crenellations here and then there's nothing and what? Ah. I would really like to see this area as a whole area, like before the destruction happened. Because this feels very odd to me, like having crenellations there on this bridge part, and then they're just ending in a building, or feels weird. Or maybe it's ripped out of context again, but it feels like this belongs there, you know? Okay, let's keep going. Now we killed this dragon. Right, we have a cliff here again, so is there any dragon remains poking out of here, maybe? No, it doesn't look like it. Nah. Unlucky. Now I'm searching for dragons in the cliff sides. But this is quite the hidden area, and for some reason it took me a long time to find this path over here. Don't ask me why. It was my first playthrough, I guess. You can descend to this building here, which looks like a... How would you describe this building? What purpose did this one serve? Like, another building to bury the dead in, or to pray, or... was it actually useful? Excuse me there. But... What is this building? Because I really wish, like, we had some sort of bazaar or marketplace, something like this, like... Because if you have a look in here, we have Deathroot, and, like... more skeletons, I guess, and that's it. Like, don't we have enough buildings like these already in the game? And why is there no staircase here? Like, do you really expect, like... And this is here, like... This ladder belongs here, because we can see there's no brong of part of this railing, right? So... This was meant, the ladder was meant to be there, but why? Why a ladder? And let me just call down this elevator. that is miraculously working, despite being like... well, who cares? But... well, there's missing path here, of course, broken off. But, like... you get what I'm saying, right? Why is there a ladder? Like, a staircase would have been so much better. In general, like... what the hell? Like, they like doing this, putting ladders everywhere, but... I hope you don't have to climb up and down ladders every day just to get to specific locations in your city. I mean, if it's your workplace, then fine, okay. But... like... this... I don't know. My town has more staircases than ladders. Let's say it this way. There's no official ladder way, like... no, just... because ladders are not very practical. Let's say you want to get your groceries... okay, for real life, let's say you have a supermarket somewhere, and it's for some reason in a valley. Or on top of a hill, right? And then instead of having a road leading there, or a staircase or some sort, no, you have a ladder. Like, imagine how many people would go there. You can't even shop that much because you have to carry it up and down the ladder. Like, you get what I'm saying, it's not practical at all. Here's usually a Crucible Knight fighting these Beastmen, which basically means, hey, hello ladder, which basically means the Crucible Knights are the opposing faction to these beasts. So maybe they're invading? Something like this. And again, ladder instead of a staircase. Then we're here. Basically a big ass loop. But actually you can, which I was missing. Let me get back up here. You can also jump down here. And it amazes me that this wasn't like the main this wasn't the path that I was taking for a long time. I haven't seen this little slab that you can jump on. I haven't seen this one. And I can tell you how I got here before. Because for some reason this elevator is not stopping in the middle, but it goes up here. I always jump down from up there, which is a bit deeper into the level itself. I jump down from up here. To this path. And then I was like, I can't really remember if you could activate this elevator, because usually it's down. Usually it's down. I'm not sure if you could call the elevator up. I'm pretty sure you could. Maybe you couldn't. Maybe I'm misremembering stuff, but this was the way I got there first, before I saw this little platform there on the side. Quite stupid, I know, but well, sometimes you miss stuff. So what will you do, right? Let's keep on going through the level. Now that we've vanquished the big-ass dragon. And by the way, the dragon is quite interesting, because there were the other dragons, the lesser dragons that we could fight, right? There was the biggest dragon on here, or so here somewhere. Then there was a dragon down here, there was a dragon up here, and then the more, like if you've killed this dragon, if you've killed this dragon and this dragon had less and less HP the more dragons you've killed before. So it gets easier. When you've killed the other dragon, this dragon gets easier. But the funny thing was, I've played with my second character, I think. When I've played with my second character through the game, and I was at this particular position up there, I wanted to play co-op. So I asked my friend, do you want to play? Sure. And we started playing, and then we got here and the dragon despawned. He jumped into the air and just despawned. And then we got invaded, and the invader got hit by the dragon, because on the invader screen the dragon was still there. But for us he wasn't there, so we could just stand here and the invader would continually get hit by the dragon attacks and got one-shotted and shit like that. Like, this dragon is buggy in co-op, I can tell you. So, let's have a look at the cliff side over here. If we can see a dragon poking out of there, it doesn't look like it. So is it only up there? There's dragon parts, there's a little bit of dragon part. And well, I've talked about the enemies here, like, not that much enemy variety, which is understandable. But I want to talk about that later too. Quite the nice little ambush. If you're too hesitant or too slow getting on the other side, this one will bombard you with ranged attacks. And oh boy, this is now the branching path. Here we have a branching path. We can go in here and grab the grace. And we have the boss run over here, 2 plus a Deus Ex, because this one is extremely well hidden. You have to jump down here and make your way to that platform down there. Like, you can see the path leading there to the platform down there. But it doesn't look like much, right? It looks like some random ass platform there. So I didn't find this one. Like, I had to look it up. I knew this boss existed here because I've seen it in videos, but I didn't know how to get there. And this is quite the annoying ambush, because we have a caster here, another caster over here, and a big meaty dude over here, and water. And they're casting lightning, so the, you know, water, lightning, more damage, shit like that. With this nice little staircase leading up this elevator. And again, elevators in these games are like, they make little to no sense. The magic elevators are the best. This one is the second best elevator part, because it actually looks like you have a mechanism in this like pillar that you're riding up. So there could be some sort of mechanism in there. And then you have the elevators that are just the floating, like a platform held up by chains with a nonsensical pressure plate in the middle, like, right. But I guess these are not as bad. Here we can have a look at the dragons poking out of there. Do I have my... yeah, nice. Because here we have a tail, I guess. One head. Another wing, another head. This doesn't look like plus a Deus Ex at all. If people saw him in here, then it must be somewhere else. And I'm not finding it right now. And this is a weird staircase, even for... Like, this is weird. This is so weird, because... This is clearly a staircase. You can't tell me this isn't an intentional staircase, right? This was built intentionally. And yeah, something is broken off here on the side, but this is a staircase. Very clearly. And this belongs here, because you can't tell me that this just flew on here at some point. Like, whoops, now there's a staircase here, because it slammed into the wall due to the tornado, whatever. Right, this was built with intent. Possibly leading up this ramp, bridge ramp thingy here, right? Okay, but... This doesn't really look like it would have... These things... Like, it doesn't look like there's an opening for the staircase here. Of course there's now, because something slammed into this part here, but... It doesn't look... Like... Did you have to, like, jump up here of some sort, like... Because if we keep on going, it doesn't look like that... Like, the staircase ends here, like... It's not even broken off, it's just like... Like, where does it go? Maybe to a different building? Somewhere entirely different, but... I think they could have done a better job making this so it looks like you could actually get up here with intention. Like, you can just get up here because, well, you can, first of all, jump very high. Come on. Or not. And second of it, like... You know what I mean. It looks like... it's not communicating correctly. That's what I want to say. It communicates like... We have a staircase here. We have a bridge here. They're close together, so you need to get... This was built so you can get on this bridge part. But there's no... Like, there's no staircase or something branching off leading up here, or no visual connection point. Then you keep... you can go into the boss arena, whatever this building is. We have a look at this later on, of course. And then we can get to this part. Where you are getting invaded by none other than Bernal. Keep on going, and some of them are bodies and some of them are standing up later on, so be careful here. They're not all dead. Some of them are, not all of them. A ladder, no staircase, no, you have to climb down this fairly high up ladder. There are no doors here, so you really had to use the ladder to get to this round building over here. And in this building we have a talisman. I think, yeah. Just for a chest. So this building was built to harbor a talisman. And it is this one, the Old Lord's Talisman. Let's have a look at this. A legendary talisman depicting the ancient king whose seat lies at the heart of the storm beyond time. Plus a 2/6. With 4 heads, by the way. Extends the duration of sorceries and incantation. It is said that the ancient royal city of Farum Azula has been slowly crumbling since time immemorial. What? Time? What is that word? Immemorial. Immemorial. Ugh. Strange word. I don't know what that means. Something with memory. But the royal city. Royal city. It said royal city, right? Okay, it took the longest way here. Royal city. Where are you supposed to live here? The talisman said it's a city, so where's the city part? Because I see it just like random ass buildings. Are they not... Do they need to sleep? Now I'm back to bitching again, okay. Now I have to say it. It's not a city. At least not the parts we can see here. Maybe the city part has been destroyed, but this isn't a city. This is a big-ass mausoleum and church and whatever. Right? This is not a city. Maybe a city for the dead because of all the graves in here, but like, no, this is not a city. This is a interesting architectural thingy, but you're not living here. You can't tell me you're living here. No. Well, maybe it's inside the walls or somewhere where we could... Yeah, no. This is not a city for me. This looks impressive, like maybe important buildings, but the buildings are empty. Like, we went inside this building over there. At least a part of the building, I think, yeah. Was like empty. There were no different rooms. Not a space you can live in. And then we have the boss arena, which is a very interesting place. So a big ass dome with, well, I don't know why you would do this, but we have a building with a big ass dome and a platform, and the platform doesn't reach to the walls, so it's not a complete floor, with a big ass chasm underneath. Like, holy shit, it does go down deep there. And with a lot of bodies buried in the walls and in the pillars. And then over there... Oh, this is interesting. I want to look at this. I haven't looked at this before. And let me sit down here, just in case I die. Because first of all, let's have a look at this. This is clearly a different version, or a older version of the Elden Ring. Because here we have all these root-like thingies that go down there, which is not in the current Elden Ring, so... Well, plus Deus Ex was the first Elden Lord, the real first Elden Lord, or a Elden Lord in the past. And this might be the old Elden Ring. And then we have here a human and wolves. Are these wolves? I want to have a look at this. And this might be the point where I die. Either this has no collision or I fail to jump over there. Let's bear with me. Test collision. Okay, test collision. Are these wolves? Kinda look like foxes to me a little bit, like... What is this? Is this wolf or is this fox? But we already have beastmen, so maybe here we have the man part, the human part, and the beast part, the wolf part, but don't really look like wolves to me. But maybe that's just me. So this room is very interesting, and I don't like doing that. But yeah, so what is this? Is this a prayer room maybe? It looks like a prayer room. Or just another crypt part where you're burying your dead, like in the what's it called? I'm missing words again. In the walls and in the what is it? Like pillars. That's what I wanted to say. Buried inside the pillars and stuff like this, like worship place or whatever. And now let's have a look at Let's have a look at... doesn't really matter. Let's just teleport there directly. I wanted to go down the web path, but I'm not really sure if I can actually do this. Because Crumbling Farum Azula. This is the arena of Dragonlord Placidus X, or Placidus X, or whatever you want to call this one. And this is what I wanted to talk about, like, here we have all these platforms where they're buried. But it's not the same thing. It's not the same building, so this is a separate building. Either below or above the area that we were before. Right. So it's basically here. This whole area is now as big as the boss arena is. And then we have a wall. Can actually walk up there. Test collision. So big as arena for a big as boss. Possibly the most epic boss fight in the game. I know I really like this boss fight because it's actually fair. And it's epic, and it's not over as quickly because this one has a lot of health. I really like this boss fight, but what I wonder, is this in the past, or this clearly doesn't exist anymore, because when we go down there, like from where are we actually going? When we go down the rocks that I've showed you, and then we have to lay in one of these, we have to lay down in one of these graves, just an empty grave, and we are laying down there, and then basically time is rewinding and the tornado is swallowing us, and then we're like up at this point with Placidus X hanging into the air with the in the pose of this talisman. So beyond time, right? So we are like somewhere else entirely. Maybe where we went past, like back in time, where like Farum Azula was once whole. Like maybe Farum Azula is underneath us right now. Or maybe we're just beyond time in a different pocket dimension where Placidus X is still alive. Something like this. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's epic. It's amazing. I really like this boss arena, but that's it basically. That is Farum Azula. Now, let me rate this one. Level design. Let's start with level design. We have quite the linear level here, right? We start off here, we go through here. Here we have two, or we can explore this building however we want. We can go through the roof, or from the side through the roof, going upstairs, having a look down there. So this is quite nice. Level design is quite nice, but the overall level design is quite linear. Right, we have a branching path to the worm face infested areas outside. What else do we have? Then we can go down this way where the undead start basically existing, into this big ass area where we have the boss room in the middle with the what are they called? The Godskin Duo, that's what they're called, with the Godskin Duo inside. And a few different paths we can take leading to the Godskin Duo itself, with a grace right in front of it. Where is it? Dragon Temple altar. Yeah, it's a temple, okay. Dragon Temple. temple, grave, depths, grave. Yeah, this is basically big as graveyard, crypt, temple, shit, like great bridge, dragon, temple, and Malekith the Blackblade. Okay. So this is basically a big place of worship and a graveyard. As I said, like, not a city. This is not the city part. The city part is somewhere else entirely. The city part got destroyed, probably. So, but yeah, it's a fairly linear level, but it's a fun level. The only thing that is a bit is the enemy variety again. Because we have beastmen with different weapons. We have a stronger version of the beastman and a easier version of the beastman. We have undead beastmen with different weapons, stronger and weaker version. We have what's in here? What are they called? Banished knights, right? We have banished knights in there. We have a few dogs sprinkled in there. But I don't know. We have quite the variety, but also not. But what else? What else would have been here? Like, I can't really think of it. So it's fine, I guess. It's okay. The enemy variety. We have worm faces. For worm face, you get a -1, I guess, because I just don't like the enemy type. No, just a joke, I guess. But there's quite the enemy variety here. I kind of wish they had even more different weapons, because I like having more different weapons. And I wish we could get the throwing weapon they have, but enemy variety is fine. We had dragons, we had like a crucible, 2 crucible knights in here even. Malekith was there. We had a draconic tree sentinel, they're called, in front of Malekith's boss arena. There was an invasion fight versus Bernal. There are birds. I don't like birds, but there are birds. So there are quite a lot of enemies in here, so this is pretty good. Level design itself, it's nothing special, it's mostly linear with a few branches, like a typical Dark Souls level, but that's not bad, that's still pretty good, it's a fun level. There's no bullshit platforming that isn't working. And the platforming that you have right here is working well. It's okay, it's a good area. So level design overall would be a 8 or a 9. Let's say 8.5. Because other than the worm faces, there's nothing bad about this area, but it's nothing extremely well made, like it's extremely outstanding. So it's not a 10, it's an 8.5. World design. Crumbling Farum Azula. We start off in a grave, we go through the grave thingy, into a temple, into another temple, more graves, temple, grave, stuff. It's just the biggest temple and the biggest graveyard, right? But for that, it looks amazing, right? It really looks amazing, having this big-ass tornado. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go? Let's go to this part. From there, we have a good overview over the whole area, so it looks amazing. Let's get up on the bridge. Like, it looks amazing. Going through here feels amazing, and nothing really feels out of place. Of course, it is helping that it got ripped apart, and I'm saying it is helping because if there are so many missing parts like here, because it's been crumbling down, it's been lifted in the sky and destroyed like scrambled around like scrambled eggs, scrambled around like scrambled eggs, I would say, like because architecture like this doesn't make really sense when something is flying, there's a pavilion of flying, there are flying buildings, but this is a good thing, because then you can always say, oh, it just went here because of the crumbling part, because of the storm or whatnot, right? So it's quite a clever trick, I must say, and it's an epic trick. Because, as I said, I think at the beginning this is or maybe I haven't, but this feels like a mixture, a very well designed mixture out of Archdragon Peak from Dark Souls 3 and the Dragon Aerie from Dark Souls 2. Like a mixture of them, just a extremely well made mixture. And it's not like they ripped off both things, it's something entirely new, but they've used aspects of both of them, right? Dragon Aerie, they had the flying dragons here, this looks epic, high up in the air. Then we have Archdragon Peak, which is also high up in the air on a cliff. So you had the windy aspect, especially with the Storm King. But this whole place was also basically a temple area, a area of scholars, shit like that. But it borrows things and makes them their own, that's what I want to say. They borrow ideas from previous games and they make them better. And this is just an amazing area. It looks amazing. Despite the very similar color palette, the colors are fitting and they're quite diverse. They've, I mean, a lot of gray here, but it looks good. It's quite the muted color palette, but it fits in and it doesn't look too gray, even though there's a lot of gray in here, right? So, world design. And it makes sense. Maybe there's just one missing door or something like this. Maybe not even, so I think I give it a 9.5. Or maybe a 10. No, 9.5. There is no 10 area in this game, because there's always something to bitch about, but if I have to say, like, if I have to give something a 10, we had a look at a lot of areas here. There's still a few areas missing, for example the underground stuff and things like that. But although from the looks and the color palette, the Harlech in particular, the Brace of the Harlech looks more beautiful. I like the aesthetics of the Harlech more. This is very close to the Harlech, and if I have to give something in this game a 10 out of 10, this area would have been it. But it's not. It's not a 10. It's maybe a 9, but I give it a 9.5 because it's my rating system. So I'm doing this. 8, let's say 8 for level design and 9.5 for world design. Let me know what your rating is, and that's it from me. Goodbye.